You know that feeling, right? You start a new budget. You're full of hope. You think, this is the time it's going to stick. And then a few weeks later, it's all falling apart. It's so frustrating. But what if I told you the problem isn't your willpower? What if the whole system is set up to fail? And that's really what we're going to dig into here. The failure isn't some personal flaw. Nope, it's a design flaw. There are these invisible forces, psychological traps, things the budget just doesn't account for, and a lot of outside pressures all quietly working against you. So let's pull back the curtain and see what's really going on. Sound familiar? Yeah, probably does, because this is the exact same pattern as a crash diet. We start off with these extreme restrictions, right? Cutting out every little thing we enjoy, but deprivation it isn't sustainable for us as humans. So naturally, we rebel. And that rebellion often turns into a spending binge. And then the guilt from that, well, it makes us quit altogether. We walk away convinced we're just bad with money. Okay, so let's get into the first big reason. The first battleground isn't your spreadsheet or your bank account. It's actually inside your own head. Our own psychology plays this massive role in why our best financial plans so often go completely off the rails. Think about it. Any budget that's built around the word no is pretty much designed to fail from a neurological standpoint. When you're constantly telling your brain what it can't have, it starts to fixate on exactly those things. This isn't a lack of discipline. It's just a predictable psychological reaction. The more you restrict, the bigger that eventual rebound is going to be. And this is where so many of us get tripped up. It's this perfectionist trap. Look at the two mindsets here. On the left with perfectionist, budgeting, the goal is 100% perfect compliance. So one tiny mistake, like buying a coffee, that wasn't planned, feels like total failure. Your brain just goes, well, I've already messed up today. Might as well get takeout for dinner too. But the 80-20 mindset on the right, it plans for you to be human. It expects imperfection and just focuses on consistent progress. And that is what actually works in the long run. Let's just be really honest for a second. As a goal, saving money, it's kind of abstract. It's boring and it has zero emotional pull. It has absolutely no chance of winning against the immediate, feel-it rush of buying something you want right now. So here's the key. Your budget needs a why. It needs a purpose that's way more compelling than just getting a little dopamine hit from a purchase. You're not just saving money. No, you're funding that trip you've always dreamed of. You're buying your freedom from a job you can't stand. You're building a secure future for your family. When you connect every single dollar to a real, tangible dream, saving stops feeling like you're giving something up. But you know what? Even with a perfect mindset, your budget can still fail if the actual blueprint is flawed. So, let's look at the structural blind spots. The parts of real life that most traditional budgets just completely ignore. This right here, this is where most budgets die. We're great at planning for the predictable monthly stuff on the left. That's easy. But it's the ghost expenses on the right that completely wreck our plans. You know, the things that only pop up once or twice a year. They feel like a surprise emergency, but they're not. They are totally predictable, just not frequent. And the solution is something called a sinking fund. It is such a simple idea, but it's incredibly powerful. So, if you know your car registration is, say, $120 a year, you just set aside $10 a month for it. By treating these big irregular costs like tiny regular bills, you take away all their power to surprise you. You turn a potential crisis into just another line item. And this leads to an even bigger issue, the problem with having just one generic emergency fund. We often end up dipping into that main fund for those ghost expenses, which leaves us totally vulnerable when a real crisis hits. A tiered system is so much more resilient. You have a small cushion fund for those little oops, I forgot moments, and then a separate sacred catastrophe fund for the true emergencies, like a job loss or a big medical bill. And if you're trying to track all of this by hand, well, the numbers are not on your side. Look at this. 90% out of 10 people give up on manual budgeting in less than 3 weeks because it's just too much work. It's too complicated. The goal isn't to become a perfect accountant. It's to automate as much as you can so the one right thing happens without you even having to think about it. Okay. So, we've looked inward at our psychology. We've looked at the flaws in the system. But we're not operating in a vacuum, right? We're also fighting a battle against these powerful external forces that are literally designed to separate you from your money. We have all felt this. It's that pressure to say yes to every single dinner invitation, every weekend getaway, every destination wedding. It's the cost of fitting in. This social tax is almost never written down in a budget, but it can be one of the biggest reasons our spending doesn't line up with what we say we want. Honestly, learning to say no gracefully is a financial superpower. And you don't need some elaborate excuse. A simple, honest script like this one, it communicates your priority without making anyone feel judged. It basically reframes your no to them as a yes to something that's really important to you. And then there's the modern marketing machine. It's not just ads anymore. It's this entire ecosystem built to make you spend. The algorithms know when you're feeling down and your willpower is low. One-click purchasing removes that critical moment of hesitation. In this kind of environment, your defense has to be proactive. Setting up digital boundaries isn't optional. It's essential for self-preservation. And finally, for anyone who shares finances, no budget on earth can survive a household that's not on the same page. If one of you is a natural saver and the other is a spender, and you don't have that shared why talked about, you're not on the same team. The plan is going to get undermined, either out in a hunt, the open, or more often through secret spending. So, after seeing all the ways a budget can fail, how do we actually build one that succeeds? Well, it takes a really fundamental shift in how we look at it. We have to move away from restriction and toward intention. Just look at the difference here. A traditional budget is basically a cage built out of no's. A values-based spending plan, on the other hand, is a roadmap built out of yeses. It doesn't start by asking what you need to cut. It starts by asking what you want to fund, what you truly value most. The entire emotional feeling changes from one of pain to one of purpose. So this is the path forward. It's really just 4 steps. First, you have to find that deep, emotional, compelling reason for doing this. Second, build a plan that acknowledges reality. The ghost expenses, the fact you're human, all of it. Third, automate everything you possibly can. Remove friction, willpower from the equation. And finally, be flexible. This is a living document, not some rigid set of rules carved in stone. And that's the thought I really want to leave you with. This one question. It has the power to change everything. What if success isn't about perfect spreadsheets and controlling every single penny? What if it's really about consciously and intentionally using your money to build a life that is authentically yours? What would that look like for you?